One of the most asked questions within spiritual circles about the Bible is this one. Why does God seem to be so loving in the New Testament, but angry, harsh, and vengeful as hell in the Old Testament? There are many violent passages that trouble a thoughtful Christian, and they point to a scary fact that religion just has to be the source of much of the violence in this world. Isn't that the truth? Well, think about the Old Testament texts that are morally problematic. And this is where Yahweh commits crimes and prescribes the death penalty, where Yahweh's anger and wrath in punishing his people, and where he commands the Israelites to commit genocide. There are numerous crimes that Yahweh, through the law of Moses, requires the death penalty. Among these are sacrificing to a god other than Yahweh. Yeah, the persistent rebelliousness on the part of a child who hits or curses his or her parents, concerning working on the Sabbath, the admonishment of premarital sexual intercourse, and the requirement of a priest to burn his daughter alive if she became a prostitute. Now in the Old Testament, Yahweh's anger repeatedly burns against his people for their disobedience. At times, the punishment he dispenses seem particularly harsh, unjust, and disproportionate. In 2 Samuel 24, we find that King David decided to take a census of the men of fighting age, and the prophet Gad was sent to David to announce Yahweh's displeasure with the taking of the census and the punishment for David's sin. The Lord Yahweh sent a pestilence on Israel. Now from that morning until the appointed time, and 70,000 of the people died. Now David makes a decision that does not please Yahweh, so he kills 70,000 Israelites for it. Now how could this action ever be reconciled with a God of mercy, compassion, justice, and love? I'll mention one last category of scriptures related to the violence of Yahweh. It is those that describe the conquest of Canaan. This is at the time the Israelites entered the land to conquer it. Canaan was populated with small city-states or kingdoms made up of various ethnic groups speaking similar languages. Yahweh promised Israel that he would give them this land, but to do so, these people had to be displaced. This was problematic enough, but Yahweh wasn't asking the Israelites to forcibly relocate them to other lands. Yahweh instructed the Israelites to kill every man, woman, and child among these Canaanites. In Deuteronomy 20, Moses gives these instructions. As for the towns of these peoples that the Lord your God Yahweh is giving you as an inheritance, you must not let anything that breathes remain alive. You shall annihilate them. The Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, Jebusites, I guess the Notrites and the Tutites. All the above, just as the Lord your God Yahweh has commanded. In Joshua, you can read about what this looked like as the Israelite army entered the town of Jericho. The Israelites charged straight ahead into the city and captured it. They then devoted to destruction by the edge of the sword all the city, both men and women, young and old, oxen, sheep, and donkeys. After the destruction of Jericho, next would come the people of the cities, every man, woman, child, slaughtered and dedicated to Yahweh. In the end, the entire population of 31 city-states was completely destroyed. I suspect that most people who read the Bible either don't think about this, gloss over these sections, or, well, just skip them altogether. They are unpleasant. Sometime after I had awakened to these problems, I reread these stories. This is when I began to think about the humanity of the Canaanites. These were human beings who lived, loved, and had families, like us. And no doubt among them there were babies, teens, mothers, and fathers, brothers and sisters, and all the rest. They were all put to the sword by Yahweh's army. 31 cities slaughtered with no terms of surrender offered and no chance to relocate to another land. So as time goes on, I came to see moral and theological dilemmas posed by all these stories. So tell me this, how does anybody resolve moral and theological dilemmas? I certainly don't understand the advocates, who usually speak of God's authority to give and take life at will. They speak of the need for God to demonstrate a firm hand to the Israelites in order to lead them to walk in His path. In the process, they downplay God's attributes of love, kindness, mercy, compassion, and justice. And to explain the total and merciless destruction of the Canaanites, they point out the Canaanites' wickedness. They have been told that the Canaanites were more wicked than all the other peoples in the ancient Near East. They argue that the Canaanites deserve their extermination. I'll finish by pointing something out. This is the same argument that's been made numerous times throughout history to justify genocide. Think back to the arguments Hitler made concerning the Jews. Many of us read these justifications for why Yahweh prescribed horrible and seemingly immoral acts of violence, but find it impossible to reconcile these acts within the character of God that Christianity proclaims. Jesus breaks bread with sinners. He ministers to prostitutes and adulterers. He hangs on the cross and prays his accusers and his executioners. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. The point is, God of the Old Testament is far from the God who has so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. And that's the truth.